The Democrats in Texas, they left the state.
They're denying the legislative body a quorum, which they need in order to have this vote to prove the redistricting.
Republicans just voted to have them all arrested.
The U.S. Congress just closed down early to not vote about releasing Epstein files. It seems like this is something Republicans like doing.
And if Republicans do it, it's fine, but not if Democrats do it.
The rule of law has collapsed in this country entirely, so I think if the Republicans are not going to obey any rules, why should the Democrats?
It sucks that we have to stoop to their level, but we have to stoop to their level.
Hello, my terrifying tigers. This is the Boredwalk podcast. I'm Tess, and I have control of the podcast today. And I'm joined with Matt and Meredith, our fearless leaders, also terrifying tigers. Woo!
Some fear.
No one's wearing a tiger shirt. Doesn't matter.
No tigers today. Yeah, we've been abandoned by both Ansley and Gabe, so
It's okay. They'll be back next week. Starting off, a big thing that's happening is the drama around redistricting. So, of course, Greg Abbott, he is trying to redistrict Texas, wants to redraw the lines to make there more Republican.
Not just he wants to. It's my understanding that Donald contacted him and said, find me 5 more reps.
Right.
So he's been ordered to.
He has, redrawn the lines. It would mean more Republicans in Congress, and they have to do a vote on that. And the Democrats in Texas, instead of participating in that vote, they left the state.
yeah, they're denying the legislative body a quorum, which they need in order to have this vote to approve the redistricting, right?
Yes. At least 2/3 of the 150-member state legislative body must be present, and the quorum was unreachable because more than 50 Democratic lawmakers left. So yeah, a lot of them apparently went to Illinois, but now Greg Abbott has threatened to, and Republicans just voted to have them all arrested.
Well, they would have to arrest them in Texas, which is the only place where they have authority, and they're not in Texas. So
yeah.
I don't know how they're going to make that happen.
Greg Abbott, as of this morning, ordered state troopers, or maybe as of yesterday, ordered state troopers to locate, arrest, and return to the House chamber any member who has abandoned their duty to Texans.
Is there even any authority to arrest them?
I really don't know. Like, it feels like no.
I'm pretty sure state troopers don't really leave their state.
Yeah.
Well, they for sure can't leave the state to go get them in Illinois. I'm pretty sure they can't do that, but I'm not even clear on like what authority they have to arrest them and make them come back to the legislature.
Yeah, I do feel like part of politics is sometimes reps are like, no, I'm not participating in this vote, and they do things like this to
the U.S.
prevent
Congress
things.
Just closed down early to not vote about releasing Epstein files. So it seems like this is something Republicans like doing.
Of course, and if Republicans do it, it's fine. But not if Democrats do it.
Also, districts in Texas are already gerrymandered AF. Like, if you look at, like, District 2, which I think is the one that's kind of circles Houston, it looks like a bicycle wheel. It's insane.
I really liked this quote from J.B. Pritzker, who is a Democrat, and he said, "We're fighting for democracy. There are no rules anymore."
Good. I want to hear this from Democrats. He's the governor of Illinois, and I think this is the right energy for Democrat governors to bring to this fight.
Play lawless games, win lawless prizes, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
the rule of law has collapsed in this country entirely. So I think if the Republicans are not going to obey any rules, why should the Democrats?
No, I agree. And I think, you know what, Texas, you want to, guess what? California can do that too. New York can do that too. All of the blue states can do that as well. And I hope that Newsom does it.
It seems like Newsom has already set that in motion here in California. And I am for it. I will, if it's on the ballot for the voters, I will be voting for it. I will be telling everybody that we can reach within our state that they should vote for it, because we got to fight fire with fire. And I do think Gavin will get the support from the voters here in California.
Democrats just have this reputation of like rolling over and taking it, and I am so sick of that. And I really think, yeah, it's like, okay, cool, you're gonna f around, then so are we. If that's the way that you're gonna play this game, then great, that's the way we're gonna play it.
I do see that emerging as an attitude with the Democrats, and I am happy to see it, and I hope that the Democrats go hard with that attitude, because that's what they need to do right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's been a lot of hand-wringing by the institutionalists over the last decade since the rise of Trump. And, you know, there's been, I think, way too much faith put in the strength of institutions and the strength of institutional norms. And it's become very clear over the last 8 to 10 years that one party has been much more inclined to adhere to those norms than the other, and there's just no parity there. And so, like, yeah, it sucks that we have to stoop to their level, but we have to stoop to their level because they are not giving us any choice. They're not being reasonable. They're not negotiating in good faith when it comes to, you know, following the rules of order in any of the legislative bodies. I mean, yeah, at the national level, the U.S. House of Representatives, the Speaker, Mike Johnson, basically was just like, we're not going to conduct any more business for the rest of the year. And so he just sent everyone home. And so just nothing is getting done, which is exactly what drives citizens who vote for parties on both sides crazy. Like, either you got hired to do a job, you can't not do the job. So,
Yeah, well, there's all this hand-wringing about, like, well, the Democrats are very unpopular, and even the Democrats themselves are not happy with the Democrats. And I think that it's being widely misinterpreted. I think people think that Democrat voters are not going to vote for Democrats, which is not, I don't think is what happened. I think Democrats are unhappy with the Democrats because Democrats are not, or have not been doing what the Democrats seem to be doing now. I think the Democrats are very happy with Gavin Newsom saying he's going to gerrymander the state. I think that'll make the Democrats a lot more popular with Democrat voters. But I think that's actually the dissatisfaction with Democrat voters. I don't think it's a matter of they've abandoned what the Democrat Party is about.
No, the thing that sucks about Democrats is that, yeah, they don't play the same games, and it feels like, okay, well then how is any of your shit going to happen if you're just like, oh, wow. They broke the rules and we followed the rules and we lost. It's like, okay, I don't know. That's like, how am I supposed to back that? Like, that sucks.
I think it's changing in real time with elected Democrats, and I am happy to see it.
Yeah, but I will caution everyone here in this room and who's listening. Like, this has been a problem where there will be like these like flashes of strong talk from Democrats that is followed with very little to no action.
Oh, sure.
And so I am going to kind of reserve my excitement until I actually see some evidence that they're going to actually follow through on some of this stuff.
100%. Like, I am all for Democrats gerrymandering blue states as well. But
we have to push them.
I'll see it I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
I think we as the constituents have to push them. I think we should be calling governors' offices and telling them, we want you gerrymandering our blue states because they're doing it. And so we also have to do it just to maintain, you know, some say in what's going on in the country.
Yeah.
But I think voters need to keep the pressure on.
Oh my God, I agree. It also just feels like, I mean, we're already in a terrible time. It's just like, what a terrible time. Because I understand also, I'm like, okay, so then we're doing that. They're going to do it. And it's going to be this very like red versus blue states. But like, honestly, the blue states are more powerful. So
is wild that we've all been kind of laboring under this delusion that corn votes.
I hate when people show that stupid map. And like, nobody lives there. Nobody lives in your state. Like,
unless the elk in Wyoming all of a sudden became anthropomorphic and sentient. No, like that's not a thing. And so I get why the quote unquote framers set it up that way, because they didn't want, that's why, every state gets 2 senators regardless of their population size or how many square miles they have. And then representatives are allotted proportionally based on population. But that number hasn't changed since I think 1922. And our population is like orders of magnitude larger now than it was 100 over 100 years ago. And so it doesn't really make any sense that we are still stuck with a grand total of 535 like elected national representatives either in the Senate or the House. But that was something that they all, I guess, agreed to in some piece of legislation that passed back in the 20s. I guess they just decided like, no, this is enough. But I don't think anyone that made those decisions then had any conception of just how much population growth was going to continue to explode, because this is before the baby boom happened, you know?
It's also just like a crazy thing to like put a law into place of being like, and it's going to be this way forever.
Right. The whole premise of amendments is that it's a living, breathing document.
Like, we know that, especially, okay, the 20s, maybe they didn't really, but I was like, weren't they in the middle of, was it the Industrial Revolution already? Like, they've seen things change.
They were all drunk in the 20s, so maybe that had something to do with it.
Well, yeah, the other thing that is continuing to happen is ICE is continuing to kidnap people, and it is kidnapping. We are tired of having this conversation about what the word kidnap means. It is to detain or carry somebody away by unlawful force. That is exactly what they are doing. I had somebody in the comments the other day saying, well, it's not, so they have been kidnapping both U.S. citizens and legal residents. And somebody in the comments was like, well, the U.S. citizens that they've been taking are being freed at some point, so it's not kidnapping. That's not how that works. If I were to go like snatch a kid off the street and lock him in my basement for a week and then I set them free, I'm still getting charged with kidnapping. Like,
no,
that's
but
not.
I let them loose. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't worry about what happened in the basement.
Yeah, it doesn't negate the crime.
Yeah.
So they're really grasping at straws, trying to wiggle out of, the truth, which is that they're kidnapping people. They've kidnapped way more U.S. citizens than I think we're even aware of. We see a news story about it like every other day, especially here in L.A. It was so bad that, they're under a temporary restraining order now. They're not allowed to just profile, because that's what they were doing. They were like literally like, oh, I see a Latina woman walking down the street in downtown L.A. Lock up. See you later. Maybe she's a citizen, maybe she's not, but we're just going to take her. Like, we kept seeing that in L.A., and that's why they're in this restraining order right now. But we've seen not just cases of taking the U.S. citizens, they're also taking all these legal residents, and it's completely nonsensical. There was a man who was here. He's a legal resident. He had a green card. He lost the physical copy of the green card. I don't know, he lost his wallet or was stolen or something, but he went to go get it replaced, and he was disappeared to Guatemala. And he's not from Guatemala. He is a Chilean expat that isn't here legally, and had this green card. And his family was told that he's dead, but he was not. He turned up in this hospital in Guatemala, and there's no reason for it. Like, he was not, they keep saying, come here the right way, come here legally. He was here legally, and they sent him to Guatemala for no reason. There is the researcher from South Korea who is still in detention. He was working on a Lyme disease vaccine. Really important science, really important research that we as a country would benefit from, the world would benefit. And he's not working on his research. He's in a cage for no reason. They are now pulling up these like kind of trivial misdemeanor like cases where like, oh, this person was caught with like, a half a gram of marijuana in 1993. So they're a threat to society and we should like put them in a torture prison. What? No. There was another legal resident who's been here for 40 years with a green card, Reza Zavar, who's from Iran. Same deal, like 1990s, like cannabis possession. And now they're trying to deport this person to maybe Romania, maybe Australia. He's not allowed to be sent back to Iran, so they're trying to send him somewhere else. There's a DACA recipient that was held at Alligator Alcatraz. They're not supposed to be doing that. Alligator Auschwitz, they're not supposed to be doing that, but they're doing that. There's another story about a DACA recipient who is deaf and mute. He showed them his real ID. They took it away and didn't give it back to him, and they incarcerated him and tied his hands behind his back so he couldn't communicate because he communicates in sign language. This is torture. This person is here legally. Yeah, there's just so many of them.
Meanwhile, we've got
tried
the
to make
sex
a list
predator
and
in
it just
chief.
got so long.
Yeah.
Just getting off scot-free, like pretending the Epstein files don't
really
exist.
Just like, yeah.
Even if you are a completely inhumane a-hole, and you just care about like the economy, the regime has been so bad for it. Like we have a friend who had 2 businesses running simultaneously that he's had to either sell or shutter because of tariffs, because of how poorly applied tariffs have been because this idiot decided to start 200 trade wars at the same time. Like, they're not good on the economy. They never have been. It's a lie that they have told the voters because they tend to be represented on the right by business people. Because they want, and the reason that they run and get elected in the first place is so that they can basically change the laws to benefit them and lower their tax liabilities. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason that they even run. It's not because of family values or any of this other crap that they use, that they dangle like a carrot. It's so that they can further enrich themselves. And now they are essentially the fox in the hen house. And they are doing it with relative impunity because, again, the Democrats are just kind of like, well, what are we going to do? And the Republicans are just like, yep, I guess that's what we're doing now. It's freaking wild.
Yeah.
None of what they're doing, though, in the long, I mean, not even the super long term, and like the next year or two, even, which is not long term, is good for business because removing all these people from the population that were both consumers and taxpayers and workers that were doing all these things for our economy, and removing them, that is not helpful to business. That's not good for business interests. We have the worst jobs report that we've had since the pandemic. Donald was so upset about the jobs report that he fired the person who was responsible for gathering this information and presenting it. Like, she made these numbers up.
Everything he does, I'm just like, you are truly a child. Like, that is a child's brain move to be like, well, I didn't like what you came up with, so you're fired. Like, this is math.
Like, it's so rare for people to get hired or fired on the first of the month or the last day of the month. And so, like, of course, the numbers are going to be adjusted down or sometimes up because that data is always rolling in and it's always in flux. So, yeah, the, processing of the data that is related to, either people that are hitting the unemployment rolls or papers are being filed because they just got hired, they're always changing. Of course, the numbers are going to not necessarily be 100% accurate 100% of the time.
Right.
I also just saw reporting that 80% of Americans now are worried about grocery prices. That's very bad.
Yeah.
They should be. It's super
groceries
expensive.
are expensive.
Crazy.
Like, even the places that I typically shop at because they've got lower prices, it's like, oh, well, the value add isn't really there anymore. It's not that much cheaper to shop at Sprouts versus Vons. Mm-hmm. The disconnect that the average voter has from the goings on in society, and I know it's such a old person thing for me to say, but I'm just like, get off your phone. Stop swiping. Stop watching Love Island. Stop obsessing about what your favorite football team is doing in the off season. Pay attention to that's actually going to affect the amount of money in your
Pay
account.
attention to that. You can have your little distractions. You can have your little treat, but pay
both.
Attention. You can do both.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do both.
We've ranted about this before, but I just don't accept the premise that anybody is too busy to pay attention to what's going on because you don't have to spend hours paying attention. Mm-mm. You can probably go to your local paper, or USA Today is a good example because it's really written for grade school level comprehension, and just see what are they talking about? Read a couple of articles. We're talking maybe 15 minutes, I guess, to read a few articles, but it's not going to take up that much of your time. You have 15 minutes to go on social media and complain about whatever. You have 15 minutes to look at news.
I'm not going to be able, there's podcasts that do the news every morning. There's ways to get this information that is going to be digestible for you, whatever that form may be.
Yeah. The information is there. If you choose not to absorb this information, it is a choice you're making. It's not that it's not there, that you don't have time for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the idiot loves to talk about ratings all the time. It's just of course news shows have lower ratings because you're comparing them across a broad swath of different things. You're not going to be able to compete against playoff sporting events or something like that, or the Olympics. ratings is should not be the final
That
arbiter.
should be not the point of news.
No, it's not. It's like, are you informing me with stuff that's accurate?
Yeah. That's what's going on. You want to find out about something a stupid person said?
Always.
This is from Nathan.
Oh, boy.
And I think you might need to tell me what video this was on. I assume it's something where we were like, hey, don't be misogynistic, men, and that really upset him. His comment was, does your no tolerance for misogyny also include misandry, or shall I go off myself like the feminists want?
Okay, he must have been commenting on, we have a video floating around that people are like, so much for the tolerant left. We never said we were the tolerant left. That's something the right made up about us. We don't tolerate the right, but that's what the premise of the video is. We just say that, the tolerant left isn't here right now, and continue on talking about the things we are not tolerant about, like misogyny,
fascism.
Yeah, and he is like, does it include misandry? Well, those are different things, and also your thing doesn't really exist. So I just or matter as much. Like
it's not a real problem.
Yeah,
and also
it's like the racism against white people thing. It is exactly that same thing. It's like that's not a real thing.
It's just really not a thing.
Yeah, feminists don't want men to off themselves. They want them to not be misogynists.
Right.
That's all. That's all.
Be super thrilled if you could just consider somebody else's life experience other than your own.
My favorite thing about commenters like him is in the same breath that they will come into our comment section and tell us that everything that women talk about is, well, women just aren't taking accountability. And in the same sentence, they'll talk about how it's women's fault that men are dealing with a loneliness epidemic, or they're wanting to end themselves. And I'm like, I thought you just said you want people to take accountability. Why are you complaining to us that women are causing your problems?
Yeah.
Tess and I were talking about this a little bit earlier. I am seeing a trend where people are giving credence to this whole we need to worry about coddling these men who are so upset by us talking about problems that we see with men's behavior. And I am not for it. I don't want to do that. I am not going to be doing that.
Sounds like
it's a giant step backwards. Honestly, it feels like a step towards conservatism. Mm-hmm. It feels like a step towards just like a lot of things of being like, oh, well, you just need to be nicer. Oh, you just need to be more compliant. Oh, you just need to be more this. You need to be more that. And it's like, so we can be controlled. Like, I am so sorry, but I don't feel bad for men when they have been attacking women and assaulting us since the beginning of time. So I don't actually care. And I think the other side of it that we've discussed, I can wrap my I'm like, okay, it hurt your feelings, and maybe I don't understand that as a woman, but also, I'm a white person, and when a person of color is like, white people suck for this, and that reason, my feelings aren't hurt by it because I know that they're right. I know that experience is correct, and me hearing about the way that other white people have wronged people of color throughout history and still to this day does not make me feel bad. And if it makes you feel bad, that's weird.
It doesn't make me feel called out. I'm upset by it, but yes. I agree with what the person saying that white people are a problem. I agree, white people are a problem.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not going to be like, oh, you personally attacked me. It's like if that were the case, then it'd be like, oh, I need to examine what the I'm doing, that this felt like a personal attack.
Yeah, if you're confident and secure in your self-awareness that you are an ally doing your very best to not be like that, you are not going to internalize it as a personal attack.
Right.
And anyone that does, really what that should signal to them is that they are the one that is being talked about, and they should self-examine and maybe change their behavior and try to view the world through a different lens.
Yeah.
Wild. Reinforcing the patriarchy ain't it. We have to coddle them. We got to be more compliant. We got to be nicer. It's just no, they're finally just the tiniest little hairline cracks are starting to show that people aren't going to put up with that anymore and they can't deal with it? Are you kidding me?
Right.
This is the same cohort of people who have spent like decades decrying like the softness of the left and whatnot. And I'm just like, you basically are telling us that you want us to be nicer and more coddling so that you turn into some beta cuck soy boys?
Yeah.
That sounds like what you want is for us to treat you like that.
I am not here for this whole like, well, the reason that the Democrats lost is because they alienated young males by making them feel bad about themselves, by talking about problem behavior for men. And it's not, I don't agree that was a really major issue. No. I think that the Democrats probably need to do more clear messaging on economics. I think that's most of it. I do not think that suddenly not saying things that hurt men's feelings is the solution.
No, it feels stupid. Want to hear a nice thing?
Sure.
Yes.
We'll take a palate cleanser.
So we have a new product out.
We do.
It's called Sinister Affirmations. It is like a witchy affirmation deck. An affirmation deck for people who aren't all about that toxic positivity.
Yeah, not for people that are into sunshine and rainbows. I mean, you can enjoy those things, but if most of the affirmation decks on the market right now are purely about that, and that doesn't really resonate with everyone.
No.
Yeah, these are a lot about like self-acceptance and feeling empowered. And so they are traditional affirmations in that sense, but they aren't in any way associated with what you think of when you think of affirmation decks, where you're not trying to appeal to society, you're not trying to appeal to the male gaze. Like these, I'm a woman and I wrote this for other women to make them feel powerful and strong, but not in a way that like society wants, in a way that like
in a way
is
that's
exciting for us.
You have beautiful teeth. You could drain a man.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, not like, your butt looks good, like your teeth look sharp.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You might bite someone. Love that for you.
But Kuma purchased this, gave it 5 stars. Happy crone. I'm living in my dream tiny witchy home, and these affirmations fit right in. I love them. And I really like this because I want to see this tiny witchy home.
Oh, yeah. Send us pictures.
She did post a photo of one of them, but it's, a close-up of one of the cards
deck
in
on like
the stand. And there's like, like maybe like a little candle behind it and a couple of other things, but you don't really get the full sense of what's going on in this witchy tiny house.
I know. A lot of questions, but if you have a witchy side, these are perfect for you, is the point.
We have more products that we're going to be working on in the next probably 6 months that are more audience specific. And I like one of the products we plan to do is couples oriented, one is family oriented, but I don't foresee people who are single being like, well, what about me? I mean, we have other things for you, but yeah, this is for a different group. Or like, well, I don't have kids. What the family one? Okay.
Stupid. Somebody will. Somebody will. All right. Want to play with some delve decks?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So we end every podcast pulling a question from all 3 of our decks, which you can get at boredwalk.com. We'll start with event.
All right. Okay. What's your not my proudest moment story? This is from the venting edition of the delve deck. When I graduated from high school, I went to college and then just could not decide what I wanted to major in. Didn't really, I don't think I was ready to be away from home and like kind of like managing my time. And this was also pre-ADD diagnosis as well. And so I hopped from school to school and major to major. And then finally it was just like, I'm wasting money. I'm not going to do this anymore. And so I ended up just working full time at Barnes & Noble in my hometown. And this very popular, very pretty girl that I went to high school with came in one day. This is probably like 5 years after graduation. And she started talking to me as though she knew me, but we never interacted at all in high school or middle school or elementary school because we were at the same school each time. And I was both embarrassed to still be working a retail job in my like early 20s, which is not that embarrassing. Lots of people do it. But I was there just because of the customer and service worker dynamic. I felt embarrassed that this was a peer of mine who was spending money and I was working there to make money. And I basically just pretended that I didn't recognize her or know her. Partially out of that embarrassment, but partially also because I was just like, you were one of the popular kids and I was not. And so this was my like really low stakes way of
being like, you don't matter.
Kind of. Yeah. And so I just was like, I'm sorry, do I know you? She's like, yeah, we went to school together. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. And I felt so guilty about it even in the moment. And I felt so bad about it for like months thereafter. And I did end up finding her on like MySpace or something like that and DMing her. And I was like, hey, I'm really sorry about that. I totally recognized you and I was embarrassed.
I like how it's haunted him.
I'm such a people pleaser that even then I could have just let it go and just like, you know, forgotten about it.
I worked at a pizza place as my first job when I was a teenager. And a customer came in and they were like pestering me about the various like meat pizzas that we had. Like, I guess we had a few different ones. This was so long ago, I don't even remember. I do remember that they were pestering me about like, which of this, is it like the meat lovers or the ultimate meat pizza? Like, there were like two different things that were kind of said the same thing. It's like, which one is better? And I'm like, I don't know. And he said, well, haven't you tried it? I'm like, honestly, like I haven't tried that one. I don't have an opinion about it. And he's like, well, you work here. Like, he's like getting up, like really like, getting to my grill about it, like pestering me. And I was like, honestly, like, I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat any of these, so I don't know. And I got fired over this for like saying this to this person. And it's not that the fired part is not the not proud moment. The not proud moment is that it bothered me at the time.
Yeah.
And as an adult, like looking back at like my teenage self, if I could like go back to that moment and talk to my teenage self, like, what are you upset about? Like, who cares? These jobs are a dime a dozen. This person that fired you, like, probably didn't even finish high school. Like, what difference does it make?
Yeah.
But like getting bothered by it was the part that, like, to me in my mind as an adult now, I'm just like, I shouldn't have let that bother me.
I think not my proudest moment was like this entire relationship that I had in college with this guy who was just a piece of shit and didn't care about me. And it wasn't like I was his girlfriend if it was convenient for me to be his girlfriend. And if it wasn't convenient for me to be his girlfriend, then it was like, why are you so crazy? Like, I never said that, you know. It was one of those, and I just like really allowed this to happen. And I feel like I'm so generally not that type of person, but I would like follow him home, throw myself at his doorstep, like screaming and crying, being like, take me back, like anytime he was just like, I've had enough of you. And it was just like a constant like, please. And this man was a loser. Like, he sucked. Everything about, like, when I go down the list, I'm just like, what the hell, like, were you doing?
I went dark as well. I pulled, what's your least favorite emotion? I hate feeling helpless. That's like my least favorite thing in the world. I mean, there's other bad ones, like grief sucks, but feeling helpless is just intolerable to me.
Yeah. I think this might be like in the same vein, but feeling like insecure and small, like when you're in a situation where you just like really are like, wow, I am nobody, and like it just, I don't know, that sucks.
For me, I guess guilt. I mean, I already talked about that with my answer to the card I pulled, but yeah, I don't like feeling guilty, and so being a compulsive people pleaser, I try to avoid that emotion a lot.
Yeah.
And that's why I engage in that kind of people pleasing behavior, is because I'm really, really trying hard not to experience a feeling of guilt or that I disappointed someone or let someone down.
I'm gonna go, since we all did deep. My deep joy, I feel like this might be, I don't know, we'll see. What's your favorite thing about your body?
It's so hard.
I mean, like, look, I'm going to be real blunt. Part of why you and Ansley and Gabe are here is because we don't like looking at each other. I like looking at Meredith. I don't like looking at myself. I don't like people looking at me. And so that's why, like, even though Meredith and I are very funny people, I think, naturally, and good writers. I feel like very out of my element when I'm on camera.
Your brain is part of your body.
Okay, fine. I guess. Yeah, but see, my brain is also what's responsible for the guilt thing. And
Yeah,
like the
no,
people
my brain's
pleasing. And so it's a
definitely
flawed thing. I guess I like my eye color.
It's nice.
Yeah. Great eyes.
So there's that. I wish I had better visual acuity. But again, like everything, like I can find a thing to nitpick about anything that I say is like a quality feature. So I'll say my eye color, but yeah, brain is probably better. But again,
No, I mean, all our brains are a mess. I'm not picking my brain. That's
I'm gonna go with like this isn't. It is about my body, but also like nothing to do with vanity. I appreciate my immune system. I don't get sick very easily, and when I do get sick, it's usually very mild and it goes away very quickly. And this has kind of always been a thing for me with getting sick, which I really appreciate because being sick is super annoying, and to like have that power to just like it doesn't happen much, and when it does, it's super mild. I feel very lucky in that regard.
Yeah. Mine's going to be like obvious and kind of, I like being tall. It's very unique. I like being a tall woman. I think it's more interesting than being a tall man. So yeah. And there's downsides to it. Of course, airplanes are the worst.
Oh.
But you can reach everything in your kitchen.
I can reach everything in my kitchen. Clothing, nightmare to find. So there's, obvious downsides to it, but I think in general, it affords me like, I don't know, a certain level, like there's like something interesting, I guess, immediately. And you're kind of like, yeah, I do have that. That is it for the Boredwalk podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Check us out next week. Get yourself a Delve deck. Call your representatives. Bye.